not know what they had summoned.
Hello, my name is Joshua Feckes Quest. We are back for game number 3. I'm here with Reed Rapp Melton. And this is it, Reed. This is the game that determines which team goes to the playoffs. Is it going to be Vanderbilt? Is it going to be Duke? Both teams have done well in game number 1 and game number 2 and kind of stopped the other one, so it hasn't been clear who actually is better right now. It's been curious.
Yeah, super curious. I mean, whenever a team is able to or loses one game very, very hard and then comes back in the second game right back at it again and picks up a win, you have to know that not only are these teams pretty evenly matched in one regard or another, but it's about adjustment. It's not just, oh, I can win games when I'm ahead. No, you have to be able to come back from losing games and then even up the series, and that's exactly what Vanderbilt did, taking us into picks and bans here for game number 3. So reminiscent bans, no Swain ban this time around, and also no ban on that Varus, or no ban on the Varus. Okay, that's going to be a little bit interesting. But with the Varus picked up, that's also going to send the Maokai pick over to Zero Eternal. So you can kind of see both teams kind of like trading blows. Wouldn't be surprised if we do see a Swain pick. That's a great pick into Maokai. Might not, but because it is just such a niche champion. But still, good pick up there, at least off the bat for Duke.
Yeah, so you can't ban the Varus. You have to ban the Zed. You have to ban your other champions as well that you need to keep away from Vanderbilt. But you have first pick. Take the Varus. That is going to be huge for Yuki, who's been decently impressive on the Ashe, especially in game number 1. But I'm anxious to see what he can do on Varus this time around. And now Jeffacake taking Corki away from Jiwoo, who I know I've been calling it Jwoo. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that Twitch chat. And of course, sorry about that Jiwoo for people spamming Jwoo at you. Don't tilt. You got this. Don't worry. But Duke has this as well. And Sunny Onage, I don't think was very impressive on the Elise. But with that being said, the Kha'Zix is banned out. Gonna see what Sunny Onage goes with this time. But on the other side, Zero Eternal and Ominous Mirror sticking with the Lee Sin, or the Maokai and the Lee Sin respectively. Might just see the same kind of pick coming out from Sunny Onage, going back on the Elise.
Indeed they will. So the Elise pick was actually a little bit lackluster for me. It's going to get locked in. Just comparing that to game number 1, I mean, sure, Kha'Zix and Elise very different champions, maybe different champion pool there for Sunny Onage. Going back on that same matchup, I felt like Ominous Mirror just did fine on Lee Sin. He was getting in there, making those big plays that we didn't see in game 1. He's looking great, whereas on the other side, Sunny Onage needs to get this gank participation stat a little bit higher up there. Jeffacake's Corki, all right, Corky's doing okay, but I mean, if that's really your go-to after Zed, I feel like maybe you need to, diversify a little bit. Although it does set up for a nice poke composition, so we'll see if they continue down that road as they close out their next couple of picks. However, it's going to send us over to look at Vanderbilt a little bit. They're going to lock in this Jhin for Vandy Landy. It did look good in game 1, even though the team did not win. However, the really big sticky spot was in the mid lane. It's like, well, can you keep that under control? And if Jeffacake's Corki this time around does get out of control, it's going to have the same effect, maybe even worse than Zed, at just snowballing through with insane amounts of damage.
Speaking of insane amount of damage, Lulu, who doesn't really do insane amount of damage, but does counter insane amount of damage. So it'd be an interesting pickup for Gop and definitely a different take on the support role that we've been seeing so far. We've been seeing hyper-aggressive support so far with as much damage dishing out as possible. Lulu would possibly counter that whole meta going on in the bot lane. And instead of, don't get me wrong, Lulu still dishes out some damage, but not near as much as the hyper-aggression of a Zyra or a Malzahar. But does counter a lot of that aggression. So we may have that one locked in. Omega GJ for the 3rd time going back onto that Shin. So status quo in the top lane. And yeah, Lulu locked in. I'm excited about that one because that means we're actually going to have some counter engages coming out, possibly with all this huge amount of damage coming out in the bot lane. Might finally see that mitigated and maybe actually see a support. We did see that with a Nami in the first game from Gop, so does have the playstyle under his belt.
All right, well, that's going to close things out as far as the picks here for Duke. On Vanderbilt's side, they have one last one left in the mid lane. They know it's going to be going up against the Corki, barring anything super, super crazy. And I heard this hyped up a little bit, and I was checking out at least solo queue, and this is G Woo's Rise. Okay, this time we get a chance to see it come out there. Rise, a great champion, Ji Woo, a great player on it. And that's going to be what Vanderbilt rather are looking for to give them the victory in this series over Duke.
Yeah, Rise is that's an interesting pick. We haven't seen a Rise this entire series. We have actually every champion on this map, this game so far, except for Lulu and Rise, have been played throughout the series. So changing it up a little bit in the Rise, more than likely going to be the biggest factor here. Huge amount of power coming into the mid game, and only gets stronger as the game goes on once you stack up mana. And like you said, Jiwoo, a great player and plays the Rise. I'm very anxious to see how he does on the Rise. And another one, actually very good against a Corki too, as far as just raw damage output. I am very anxious to see. And that also gives them the a little bit, not global map presence, but it does give them quite a bit of map presence with his Realm Warp.
That's very true. Jiwoo's Rise, it's his go-to champion, at least when it comes to solo queue and comfort level. So excited to see that one come out there. Ominous Mirror looking better on Lee Sin, and all things point to a super solid draft here for Vanderbilt. However, one thing that Duke have shown that they can do is duke it out, fight, and win. And game number 1 was an illustration of that. Game 2, not so much. We'll see which Duke show up here as we get into our spectator delay for our final game of this series. One of these teams will be advancing to our playoffs. One of them will not. And here to find out whether or not they will and which one it will be are, of course, all of you fabulous people. So thank you so much for coming out and tuning in to this CSL broadcast of the ULOL Campus series. We're so glad that you could join us. And if you have any feedback, make sure to head on over to Twitter or Facebook at C-Star League on Twitter, Collegiate Star League on Facebook, and let us know who you guys are cheering for, and which players and teams you want to do well. In the meantime, we're heading off to a quick commercial break, so don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll have our final game of the night. Game number 3 is Duke takes on Vanderbilt.
Only $14.99.
Don't miss the call. Download Band. Communication made easy.
To kill. To these creatures, there is but one thing left to do. Heavy metal.
Gates
Rapid, we are back for game number 3 in this best of 3 series. The winning team here goes on to the playoffs. My name is Joshua Fekesquest. I referenced him just a moment ago, but he is Rapid, Reed Rapid Melton to be exact. We are on the Rift. What's going to happen here? Both teams grouping up here. They might be looking for an invade on each other's side.
That is true. They're kind of doing the yin-yang as they mirror each other on either side of Summoner's Rift, looking to get any little advantage that they can. Now, I mean, Shen leading the way for Duke, Omega GJ looking to get a big multi-taunt and just win the team fight outright. On the other side, grasping roots from Pure and Fresh, great way to help out Vanderbilt. Now, neither team will find each other, but at least we're not seeing these safe and passive starts where everybody lines up across the map. It's like, I can see you. Then just wave at each other, and I'm like, okay, well, not as exciting as big 5-on-5 level 1s. I think that's fairly safe to say. Either way, let's go ahead and get into the game and try to figure out exactly what either team wants from this early game. Now, placing a deep ward there at the red buff will at least allow the guys from Duke to see what's coming their way. Maokai will walk up there towards it, so there's no crazy lane swaps. Not that you'd expect to see that from the Season 7 strategy, but mainly it's just going to reveal which side the enemy jungler is starting on, and that will, of course, allow them to kind of plan accordingly once the game progresses.
So we already see a little bit of trading going on in the mid lane. Jeffacake versus Ji-Woo, and we do see Jeffacake. He seems familiar already with this matchup, as we saw Ji-Woo throw out a Q, and immediately Jeffacake goes right into his face with the Gatling gun. So it looks like he is familiar, and that's going to help him out quite a bit going into this matchup. But meanwhile, the lane I really want to focus on, or at least I'm hoping for most action, is in this bot lane. We have a Zyra, very hyper-aggressive, damaging support against Gop, who's on Lulu. Quite the opposite. I mean, like I said, does damage, but mostly known for protecting your ally, keeping them alive as much as possible. Has the wild growth at level 6 compared to Stranglethorns. Complete opposite effect. One of them saves the enemy. One of them one of them saves the ally, one of them cancels, but we already have a flash in the bot lane. Yuki being forced to flash, and Gop also flashing here as well. Very, very aggressive play from Vanderbilt and Pure and Fresh, and it's paying off so far, Rapid.
Wow, yeah, this is the kind of game I love to see. Both teams have had chances to field their strengths, almost specifically in the duo lane, and now no jungler interaction. It's just going to be about the 2-on-2, and currently right now Vanderbilt is coming out sizably on top. Now, I mean, Varus is going to kick in a little bit, maybe once he comes back with a Tear of the Goddess or his first lethality item. That's where you're really going to watch out for these piercing arrows, which are such a big strength. Now, that's not right now. Right now, solidly in the driver's seat, Vanderbilt leading the way. So some things to keep an eye on down there. Of course, junglers just now finishing up their roots, and see that gank come in here in a few minutes afterwards, if that is the opportunity. It doesn't look like there are too many opportunities out there, so should be a little bit of a safer early opening to this third and final game.
Yeah, Sunny Onage may want to focus onto this bot lane with how much Yuki and Gop are being bullied by the hyper-aggressive damage of Vanderbilt and Pure and Fresh. I didn't think it was too impressive on the Elise last game. We're going to see if he can correct that this time around, being on the blue side, maybe a better route, more familiar territory for him. But we see Ominous Mirror going to the top lane. We see Sunny Onage coming into the bot lane. Let's see if he can land something here. Does land onto Vandylandy. Isn't going to be enough. It actually forces the heal and the flash out of Vandylandy. So that is going to counter those summoners that were blown earlier by Duke. But meanwhile, in the mid lane, Jeffacakes has to back out all the way. Valkyrieing out into safety, but Ominous Mirror, he's in the backlines. He lands the Sonic Coconut and gets the kill. First blood going over to Ominous Mirror.
Okay, that was a little strange. I thought Ominous Mirror went for the flash prediction and got right on top of Jeffacake, but it looks like Jeffacake's flash kind of disjointed the resonating strike, and he was able to follow it even through everything. Correct me if I'm wrong. Everybody out there is witnessing this. If you want to tweet at RapidCasting and let me know what you saw. Maybe I was just a little bit off there, but top lane, he's back at it again.
Omega GJ can get out pretty easily, though, with that taunt, and actually taunts through both of them. So he's just going to be very safe there in that top lane. It has used his health pot. Actually, I don't think it doesn't have any health pots in it anymore, but it does have that Doran shield to keep him alive a little bit longer. Give him a little bit of sustain in that top lane, as he's not going for any kills, so playing very safe in the top lane, just wants to farm out as much as possible as that big tank and transition into the mid game to protect your allies and be that big front line. And that's where Gop is really going to come in handy. Once he gets into this mid game, Gop is going to be, I feel like, is going to be a big playmaker for his team if he can combo his wild growth with, say, Omega GJ. If he can get the proper taunt through, get a knock up from the wild growth, and not to mention the AoE slow. I really think Lulu can be a huge factor in this game, but so far it's been relatively even. Yuki is actually farming a little bit better than Vanderbilt. Of course, Vanderbilt did go back a hint early to pick up that serrated Dirk, get that lethality started. And it looks like now Yuki and Gop, they're going to go back and get their items started as well.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about that. Yuki going to be going for Tear of the Goddess first, already has that. Then lethality and the serrated Dirk build. On the other hand, that's a little bit of an advantage to playing Jhin over Varus, two of the biggest lethality AD carries right now, is that he does get to buy that early without having to worry about mana dependency too much. So there's just differences on either side. Kimura Yuki is going to have the ability to deal more damage with skills by hitting more of them. Vandy Landy's just going to hurt more when he does, click on you with those auto attacks. So just to kind of keep an eye on where we're going. Mid lane's been going pretty swimmingly. Jaywood does have that extra assist and more CS, so he'll be on top of things just slightly. Shouldn't matter all that much, but as far as the rest of the map goes, everybody fairly even. Zero Eternal has not headed back to base just yet. He will now, and that'll even up his items against Omega GJ.
Yeah, 1,700 to spend right now. Spends most of it, about 1,400. Actually, no, it spends all of it. Never mind. Does pick up the health pots as well. Coming back with the Bammy Cinder and the cloth armor. So just going to do a typical Maokai build, typical tank build in the top lane. Just going for as many tanky items as possible as early on. Going to be taking advantage of that teleport. He is level 6 now, so he has the damage reduction. If he does get into any teleport team fights in the bot lane, which bot lane has been a big focus in all 3 games, as that is just how the meta is right now. You see the memes, what is it, ADC 2017, LOL or something like that. No, I'm not really hip on the whole lingo thing, but that is just how it is right now. Gank bot, get a big advantage, go take an objective like the Drake or even the turret, and sometimes both, and you get a huge swing of power for your team early on.
Certainly would be a big swing of power. Currently, this is the most even game of the 3. Not just, not even because you see 2 big zeros up there in the kill count, but just because the gold pretty on par. None of the lanes just totally over just yet. Actually feels pretty good to have progressed from what was a pretty one-sided game number 1 to, towards the end, a pretty one-sided game number 2, and now starting things off pretty evenly across the board. Both mid laners heading back base to pick up their next spikes. Should be a Sheen pickup. Yep. Don't want to complete the phase just yet. And for Jiwoo working towards his Rod of Ages.
Yeah, gonna get that mana sustain as much as possible. Not to mention, the more mana you get as a rise, you get more power too. And of course, the Rod of Ages will also add to your health, make you that tanky mage that can also dish out a mass amount of damage. So working toward that, wants to get that Rod of Ages as early as possible. So
he's yeah. Oh, sorry.
Well, you say sorry. It doesn't matter because we have Jeffacake in the bot lane. And there's a Stand United as well. We're talking about those bot lane ganks, and this is the first one.
Oh my
Yuki
goodness.
Picking up that kill, but Jeffacake does go down due to the turret. Stayed under the turret a little bit too long. Actually got grasped with the roots in the bot lane by Pure and Fresh. Gives a kill over to him, but Andy Landy went down. Yuki picking up a kill. That may be First Dragon going over to Duke. They are grouping around it, but they are spotted out as well.
Wow, really, really well played on the dive there. Lulu, effective, yes, but Jeffa just, you don't really want your Corki in the mid lane to be the character tanking the turret. So great to snag on the kill there at the end, Pure and Fresh locking it down. But at the end, it's not about the even trades, it's about who comes away with the big objectives, and that is going to be the first dragon of the game. going to Duke.
Yeah, and that is a Mountain Drake, so when they hit these turrets, it will do a little bit more damage. It does add true damage, not only to the turrets, though, adds more damage to the main objectives, like the Drakes, and like the Rift Herald, and like the Baron, which can be a huge factor, especially if you start stacking up those Mountain Drakes. But the next one is the Infernal, arguably the best best Drake to have. It does increase the power overall, which, in turn, helps you take all those objectives I just mentioned even easier as well. So, looks like some vision being established by Ominous Mirror, but Jeffacake is going to go over and check it out here. He is actually spotted out by a War, takes the Rift Scuttler too, may even oh, well, failed flash by Ominous Mirror, takes the kill. Jeffacake, right place, right time. It was just Ominous Mirror being a little too trigger happy on that flash.
Certainly so, a little bit unfortunate, but we're back at it again. And, well, the jungle matchup, at least for Ominous Mirror, has been really hot or cold. Had a sick gank at the beginning of the game. That was not quite so sick, but in the end, he's actually effective. Well, I mean, just wasn't.
No, you're totally right.
He's actually helped his team get to a great spot. Whoa, Jay Woo! Putting out the deeps in the mid lane, pushing Jeffacake back to his turret, and now with a gank coming in, Sunny Onage trying to make him honest, but a flash out will get him out alive.
Oh, but look in the bot lane, Chains of Corruption does go down onto Vanderbilt, but it's not enough. Pure and Fresh, even through the exhaust, picks up the kill. GOP, I should say, GOP rather, not going to be able to dodge any of those curtain call shots. Fourth is the number for any sort of Jhin player, so you want to hit that fourth one. He hits all of them, in fact, but the fourth crits and kills GOP, and nice pickup in the bot lane for Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt now starting to get a pretty decent advantage there, not just because it's like, oh, well, Rapid, he got one kill. That's not a big advantage. I'm like, well, yeah, but it's about what it symbolizes, and that is his ability to take over this duo lane. Kumura Yuki had a kind of a field day with this lane in game number 2, and that really showed as the game progressed because he was just able to just have so much poke damage, by far the most damage in game number 2. So this time around, he's not only being shunted a little bit, but Vandy having a great time, having the ball, and he's going to be able to head back to base, and most likely, okay, just a little short on completing that Yomu's Ghost Blade, but picking up the itemization he needs, heading back on out there. So haven't seen a turret fall just yet, but it's certainly starting to look more Vanderbilt favor.
Yeah, they are picking up the kills where it matters, and they just outright 2v2'd in the bot lane, and that's pretty telling right now. We get into the mid game where these piercing arrows are going to hurt more and more. Vandy and Pure and Fresh, they're on a very power eccentric duo bot lane, so you expect them to dish out that much damage. Of course, Gop, I don't know if he was level 6 at that time, but I don't think he used the Wild Growth in that exchange in the bot lane. But we do see Jeffacake rather, and Sunny Onage grouping around the mid area. Thought they may be going to the bot lane, but it looks like he's going to establish vision and also deny vision from Vanderbilt. And sometimes knowledge is the most powerful tool you can have, so erasing that, always a good thing. Establishing that is even better. And it looks like Sunny Onage is just going to go back to his buff, and meanwhile Ominous Mirror giving the blue buff over to Jiwoo. And that means he is going to be throwing out as many combos as he damn well pleases with those Qs and prisons. He's actually, look at the CS difference though. Jiwoo heavily out CSing Jeffacake.
Right, and this is one of the big things that I didn't touch on this specifically, but in Champion Select, Jiwoo getting his rise, by far most played champion, big comfort pick, and now, looking to the bottom lane, here's Verisol landing in.
Chains of Corruption gonna lock down Vandy. He had nowhere to go. He had Flash, but not enough though. There's the Sandy United coming in. This is the advantage of playing a Shin. Zero Turtle not even teleporting to the bot. That is 3 kills picked up for Duke in the bot lane. Zero Turtle, he did not teleport. He had a ward in the back lines to teleport to, but Vandy got erased so quickly it didn't matter. That's going to be the first turret going over to Duke, and that puts the gold at about even, considering Zero Turtle, he picked up a turret in the top lane as well, but it's not the first turret. Duke still has the advantage.
I gotta say, Fekez, one teleport really could have changed that around. Zero Eternal, if he hadn't been able to get to what was a perfect flank ward there in the front, bottom lane bush, that just turns the entire fight around. Having a Vengeful Maelstrom over that entire fight, level 11 too, so it's going to be level 2. That is a huge game changer. He didn't show up. Omega GJ is Stand Beside Me, has, or Stand United rather. I think I was thinking of the Braum spell, but either way, a great usage this entire series. Always immediate, always on the right member, and in the right situation, able to completely blow that fight wide open. Sometimes, yes, the dual laners, the mid laners are the ones dealing damage, but it's how it gets set up, and Omega GJ, really big help there for Duke. Now, gonna look for now Jiwoo's opportunity to roam down to the bottom lane with a Realm Warp. It's not quite off cooldown, but top lane's where the gank's happening.
That was a nice explosive flower combination into the cocoon onto Zero Eternal. He has nowhere to go. Sunny Onage is going to be able to pick that one up, but Vanderbilt with Sunny Onage in the top lane have started the Infernal Drake, so they may be able to pick this one up. As Sunny Onage nowhere near to be able to steal that one away. And it doesn't look like Yuki is even going to try with a piercing arrow either. That is, Little Lance almost picked it up, but very nice pickup. But yeah, it was a nice pickup by Ominous Mirror, and that is one dragon to one now.
Yes, and great realization there by Vanderbilt, saying, okay, well, we missed out on the opportunity top lane, just going to sacrifice that top lane pressure and then turn it back around, pick up this dragon. There's going to be a lot of damage on Nakamura. Yuki forcing the flash out.
Oh, but now it's turned back around. Ominous Mirror, he goes down. Jeffacake with the Wild Growth put onto him, still gets that kill. Should probably went on to Yuki, because now Curtain Call comes along. It's going to slow down the members it hits. Shutdown going over to Vandylandy onto Jeffacake. And now Sunny Onage, he just dove in there really willy-nilly, if I can use that term in the most scientific way possible. He did not need to be there.
Yeah, Sunny Onage tried to get really willy-nilly on Vandylandy, and I feel like I'm reading a Dr. Seuss book at this point, but it's actually just a team fight. Things are actually going to even up in the kills, but when you look at the gold count and when it comes to objectives, Vanderbilt are the ones starting to get extremely far ahead.
Yeah, they are inching their way up, despite losing that first blood turret, and despite the team fights going in the favor of Duke in the bot lane. Vanderbilt, they are holding on and clawing their way. They have the objective control with 3 turrets. They do have the Infernal Drake, which helps them out in these team fights even more, especially compared to the Mountain Drake, which doesn't help you in team fights at all, but does help you take the objectives, but you have to get to those objectives first, and most of the way you do that is by taking team fights, something that Duke is, they were doing, but getting caught out a little bit here. See if they can pull it back up. Of course, the game is not over yet. It's 17 minutes in, actually going on 18 minutes now. 7-7 in kills, 1 turret to 3, and that is putting Vanderbilt to about a 3K gold lead right now in the early going.
All right, Fekez, we find ourselves at the 18-minute mark. I don't know about you, but when it comes down to, especially if you're playing through a series, you get to this point, you have to ask yourself, okay, well, it's the last chance we got. Playoffs on the line. Pressure is on. And where do you look? If you had to pick one player on, you do Duke, I'll do Vanderbilt. Who are you really looking to step up at this phase in the game?
Oh, it has to be, I would say it has to be Yuki. Has to position himself way better than he's been doing throughout those piercing arrows. The same thing that Vandylandy did last game. Omega GJ was a close second there because he is the front line. He's the one that can really dish out the damage if he can, or I should say absorb the damage and keep everyone from dishing it out with those taunts. But Yuki, if he's not there to throw out the damage, that's almost irrelevant. What about you on Vanderbilt?
For Vanderbilt, it's literally got his name in it. Vandylandy was the guy that really showed up for me in game number 2. I want to see more of it, but here's the big engage. Look at the package coming in.
Yeah, Pure and Fresh, he's separated, but Jeffacake gets destroyed, and it was before the Stand United could come in. So, it's 1 for 1.
That's a special delivery that I don't think Duke were too ready to send through the postal system. Pure and Fresh traded 1 for 1, so credit where credit's due, but I just don't know too many ways that was the Jeffacake was going to come out alive on the other side. Omega GJ even still had a super sick Shen ultimate, and it just didn't matter. Turns out Corkis in the middle of enemy teams tend to blow up pretty quickly.
That's one of those things, though. So I've actually seen this combination before, earlier in the collegiate, I'll say the ULOL campus series. Omega GJ and Jeffacakes, the Shin and the Corki. This is the same thing that happened last time, where idea is special delivery in. Obviously, you have the Shin ult. Wow, you deliver Shin right in the middle of them too. But you have to have that time frame just on a T. The best thing you can do about that, stand united before you launch yourself in, not while, not during, not after either, especially not after. But before, have it warmed up. That way, right when you deliver it into the middle, he's already there. And he's ready to taunt whoever can destroy you instantly, like we saw in that exchange. And yeah, like I said, I've seen that happen a couple of times in the ULOL Campus series. And as the games go on, you get higher caliber teams, but still haven't gotten that special delivery Shin package thing down yet. It's comical to watch, but it can really work if it's played out well. If I do,
all right.
Yeah, if I give myself a little bit of the analysis there, that was about the only thing I got.
Well, no, that's actually totally fine. I was just listening to Jin say, "Smile, everyone's watching." Maybe a little bit sarcastically after watching the bobsled Corki. needs to cool his runnings a little bit there in the mid lane. Avoid diving on in there. One of my favorite movies.
Our fan base is young though, man. I don't even know. John Candy, he hasn't been around for a long time, bro.
I mean, Cuba Gooding Jr. is still a thing, though, right?
Okay. Yeah, he's in that O.J. Simpson show. Well, now it's ended, but he was, yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, either way, just had a quick little nostalgia trip, and that's going to a pretty good spot.
So yeah, it looks like the Drake will be up in about 30 seconds. I did not see which one it is. I'm actually going to pan over real quick, then go back to directed cam. It is going to be the Mountain Drake, which of course, the more you stack up, the more powerful they get. They do want to take that one. They obviously want to take all the Drakes. They don't want to give this over. But look at the timing here. Sunny Odin, she's on the top lane. And you know that the Drake is coming up. We have timers. You can just use the tab button and look at him. And he is nowhere to be seen to try to take this Drake. And that may be going over to Vanderbilt.
Okay, well, Vanderbilt certainly does seem to be getting the upper hand, at least when it comes to being on top of these objectives. They did lose the first one, but ever since then, it's been looking good. Same, great on the secure, but now they have to win the fight.
Yeah, this is the fight that is here, but it's no Sunny Onage. There is a wild growth coming out, but now Duke is on the defensive. Vandy picking up that kill with his curtain call, and a second kill. Here comes Realm Warp to put in position. Vanderbilt cut off the escape route of Gop. Ominous Mirror, he's on the side, lands the Sonic Coconut. He's gonna get the Resonating Strike through the Explosive Flower over the wall. Ominous Mirror, he's gonna go down possibly. No, flashes over the wall, stays alive. Ji-Woo picking up that kill in return. Actually, I haven't really anything in return because the entirety of Vanderbilt stayed alive. 4 members of Duke lost their life along with the Mountain Drake. Vanderbilt looking strong going into the mid game.
Oh, Fekez, I think that might just have done it. A solid team fight win. Jeffacake tried the utmost, but he didn't have the damage when he needed it. He went for the exhaust on the Ominous Mirror, wound up overextending, and Ji-Woo just popping off a little bit, picking up his 207 scoreline and really just representing well, getting in there and not winning the team fight single-handedly, but a nice way to close it out there. Vanderbilt come out strongly ahead.
And you have to wonder why Sunny Onage going against Zero Eternal, who has a teleport. Sunny Onage has nothing to really get back into the team fight. Why not put Omega GJ up there? He has Stand United and he has a teleport. I'm not really sure what Duke is thinking with putting Sunny Onage up there, but it is costing them quite a bit. It's the second time Sunny Onage has been out of position for these Drakes, but this time it also cost them a team fight. And like you said, it may be it. That may have cost them the game all the way going to the end of it here. It takes one slope to start a downhill tread here. As we see Baron vision being established by Duke, it is on their side, so they have a little bit easier time establishing the vision. But it's only defensive right now. They are in no position to try to start that one up or take it.
Yeah, not a button, not a trigger that they want to push or pull, depending on which metaphor you want to use, Fekez. I don't know, I've got too many. It's like, why can't I hold all these metaphors? They go in opposite directions, but they mean the same thing. How does it work? Ever since I moved to Korea, I've been trying to, learn Korean a little bit. Korean actually has only about like 5,000 words. It's not as much. Kimura Yuki wishes he had that much HP.
Yeah, he's not gonna survive too long there, being locked up like that.
Well, back to what's important, and that was my anecdote. As they do go for Baron. Maybe this is gonna be another fight. Man, I'm never gonna get to tell my cool story, Fekaz. Either way.
Hold on, we'll actually get to that. You have the floor soon because it's your birthday, I hear. We'll get to that in a second too. But yeah, Baron started by Vanderbilt here. It is taken by Vanderbilt, so power is on their side. And we see that as Sunny Onage gets owned himself. Omega GJ not near tanky enough to withstand the onslaught here. Curtain call coming out, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't hit Jeffa Cake.
Jeffa. Yeah, Jeffa Cake on the run.
Oh my god. Yeah, Rune Prison, Q from Arise. That's all she wrote. That was a 4-for-0 in favor of Vanderbilt. Rapid, they are going to just try to end this one early.
Well, they're definitely not going to be able to totally end the game here. I mean, if things go catastrophically wrong, then sure, maybe Fekaz, but might just be looking for an inhibitor. If they overextend here, could wind up getting things turned around as the rest of Duke do begin to respawn. We'll just take the inhibitor, rotate down to the bottom lane.
Yeah, the bot lane inhibitor turret being contested here. Empowered minions are in the front lines here with another wave right behind, but it looks like Vanderbilt, they are just going to back off. Call it a day for now, as the Drake is going to be up in about 1:50 seconds. They may just want to go back, spin their spoils. They have a lot to spend right now as we go over to the amount of gold. Ominous Mirror has almost 3,000, actually 3,000 to spend. So he's going to be coming back so strong, and this is by far Ominous Mirror's best game he's played all series.
All right, well, as I do struggle a little bit here through our third game, I feel the need to continue my anecdote about language. So much fewer words in Korean than I'm trying to put some effort into learning since I do live out here now. And then I think back towards English, and it's like you got over, I think it's somewhere over 100,000 words. It's actually insane. Much like Omega GJ's Shen has been in game 2, not so much here in game number 3. I'm trying to segue into the fight, but it's actually just us watching Omega GJ's untimely demise.
Maybe he might get away. He does have taunt. He's going to be using it pretty soon.
You're pretty optimistic there, Fekaz.
I am optimistic, but a flash used by Ji-Woo, and he's going to go down. Vandy Landy picking up that one from afar. Meanwhile, in the top lane, though, Zero Eternal, they may trade a top laner for a top laner. But Zero Eternal, he's very powerful.
Look at this guy go.
Yeah, Yuki is here now, and that is going to be the damage that he wants. He does pick up a kill, though. Something Omega GJ was not able to do. And Gop actually picked up that kill. They had no choice but to kill him as fast as possible. Zero Eternal had a lot of damage for a tanky Maokai.
And look at where the rest of Vanderbilt are going, Fekaz. They're doing a little bit of dirty farming down here. Ominous Mirror proxying the wave behind this bottom lane inhibitor turret. And Vanderbilt, I think they're starting to feel themselves a little bit as they do break through this bottom turret.
Oh, here comes the big curtain call. Along with the Stranglethorns onto Gop. No amount of wild growth. You cannot become large enough to withstand that sort of damage. Both Yuki and Gop, the bot lane of Duke going down along with Omega GJ. That's their front line. That is going to be them going down. Jeffa Cake launched himself in. He knows it's a suicide mission, and he dies for it. That's kind of what a suicide mission entails, as we know, but I think that's going to be game, and I think that's going to be Vanderbilt advancing into the playoffs.
And what a way to do it, Fekaz. They will go ahead and close this out there with a full-on 5-for-0 ace, taking out both Nexus turrets, finishing off the Nexus itself. Oh, Vandy Landy might just die to the cannon minion. Nope, he's gonna stay alive, and that's gonna do it. A 24-9 victory, and a 2-1 score. Vanderbilt advances to the playoffs over Duke.
Yeah, and they are advancing with the University of Texas Dallas in their respective division. That would be the South 9 division for the ULaw campus series. So congratulations to Vanderbilt. A very, very, very shaky game number 1, but they brought it back 2-0, or two games, bringing it to the third game, winning that one as well against Duke. But that is going to be it for us for now. I believe we have another game going on in about 30 minutes. I'm going to throw up the schedule for you folks. And yeah, that is going to be the University of California, Santa Cruz versus Cal Poly Slow. That's going to be a great game as well. But Rapid, happy birthday, man. I've been wanting to say it all game, but I'm gonna spare you the happy birthday song. But happy birthday, man.
Well, thank you very much. I do have to share my birthday with Valentine's Day over here. So for whatever that's worth, thanks a lot, Fekez. It's been great to share my birthday with all of you people watching. So to everyone out there, thank you so much for tuning in to tonight's ULOL Campus Series broadcast. It's been great to spend this evening with you as well, Fekez. So big fan. Glad we could join together today to share some of the wonder that is collegiate esports. Once again, don't forget, guys, we'll have even more League of Legends coming your way in just about 30 minutes as UC Santa Cruz takes on Cal Poly Slow. So you'll want to stick around for that. And of course, if you do want to get notified whenever we go live here on Twitch TV/C Star League, hit that follow button. And if you feel so inclined, you can drop a subscription there as well. I do want to certainly thank you for not only tuning in, but also for supporting collegiate athletes, whether they're local at your school. You see these guys walking around. Let them know you're glad that they're representing your school there this season in the ULOL Campus Series. Just like regular athletes, they need fans too, so it's always nice to show our support for collegiate athletes out there. That's just my little soapbox, but in the end, that's going to do it for our broadcast. Congratulations to Vanderbilt for advancing to the ULOL Campus Series playoffs, and to Duke for games very well played. Fekez, you want to throw one last shout out to our sponsors before we head on out?
Yeah, of course. Sponsors and plugs, actually. We'll do the sponsors first. Band Gaming, a social media app, and the social app of the CSL with features such as creating groups, boards, calendars, polls, chats, even with the call functionality now. It is the premier social experience for you and your fellow gamers alike, and the choice of social app for the CSL. We hope it is yours as well. Join the CSL community at band.us/@CStarLeague. And of course, you're watching the ULOL Campus Series on Twitch. They are another sponsor of us. They've been with us for quite a while, and we thank them very much. You can only catch the ULOL Campus Series on Twitch. And of course, last but not least, Azus, they are with us for the 2016 and 2017 season, and personal shout out to them. They introduced me to VR, and that was the most amazing experience I've ever had as a gamer. That was just a life-changing experience, and I want VR now thanks to Azus. And you can actually build a VR computer using Azus monitors, laptops, routers, graphics cards, motherboards, pretty much everything. I almost said graphics cards twice because I actually have two Azus GPUs, but no matter, don't enter your next battle unless you're equipped with Azus. And I do want to give a couple plugs. We are hiring a social media manager for CSL. If you do have a passion for esports, want your foot in the door, and want to try your hand at an esports career, head over to cstarleague.com. If you have social media experience, check us out, apply. Why not? You have nothing to lose. And of course, also, Midwest Campus Clash is going on. It's sponsored by CSL and the Columbia College, a $25,000 collegiate tournament for Midwestern schools, those being from Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, Nebraska, North Dakota, Ohio, my home state, South Dakota, and Wisconsin. So registration is open from now until the 22nd, so go check that out. Midwest Campus Clash, a $25,000 collegiate tournament. It's free. Why not? You got nothing to lose. That's it for tonight. My name is Joshua Fekez Quest here with Rapid. Once again, happy birthday, man. Glad we could spend a romantic night on the Rift. But as far as CSL goes, we'll be back in about 25 minutes. Stick around. Don't go anywhere.